Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about what's happened at stage one of the Tour de France, and we'll look at what's upcoming tomorrow for stage two. So let's get into it. Stage one, as we said yesterday in the preview show, was an absolute barnstormer. It went off with a bang. The riders had to contend with, what have we got here? Looking at my notes, 35 degrees centigrade heat, an attritional day. We saw Mark Cavendish have probably one of the worst days that I've seen him on the bike. And it was unpredictably not a day for any of the big four or big six even, has been spoken about. It was a day for the breakaway. So what happened? Well, initially nothing. For the first sort of 10k, a very tentative start with the peloton looking at each other. Eventually though, breakaways attempted and were shut down by UAE primarily. One breakaway did form and was allowed to remain and get away, and that surprised me because of the 6 riders in the breakaway, 4 of them were big hitters that I didn't think would be allowed to get out the front and remain. And that was Mohoric, Izagirre, Madius, and crucially, which we'll come on to, Van den Broek of DSM Firmenich. It was Van den Broek's debut Tour de France and debut Grand Tour as well. So we'll get into that. He had an incredible day and we'll explain why in a second. Okay, so once the breakaway formed, the peloton barricaded the front of the road, and that was the end of that. They were quite happy to sit back, get water bottles, feed, and take their time in the heat. 160k to go though, as I mentioned. Cav had a real tough time. He dropped out the back and basically had to be nursed and looked after all the way to the end, but displayed incredible tenacity and resilience to do that. So well done, Cav. Incredible ride. 75k to go. We saw some big names start spitting out the back of the peloton, and again I think it was just purely down to struggling with the heat. Some of the big names like Magnus Cort, Wellens, Stevie Williams of Israel Premier Tech, Lee, and a few others as well just couldn't cope and were dropped. And it wasn't as if the peloton was driving super hard. It was, I think, just purely down to the heat on the day. Okay, 70k to go. Mathieu van der Poel dropped out the back of the peloton, and that was his race done pretty much. 50k to go. There was a minute and 15 seconds gap to the breakaway. And 47k to go. Romain Bardet, the veteran French rider who has announced this is his last year of doing the tour, attacked off the front of the peloton, got away and bridged over to the breakaway, which was now down to just a couple of guys, one of which crucially was his teammate Van den Broek as well. So it was possibly a strategy they had planned, possibly something that formed within the moment of the race, but it was perfect for Bardet to have a teammate up in that break. Van den Broek had been in that break with 190k to go. All day he'd been in that breakaway. Once the two of them were working together though, they quickly pulled away on their own, and that was it. Nobody else was seen. They all dropped back to the peloton. The peloton chased hard, realizing that these guys were working together, and incredibly, the likes of Mads Pedersen and Wout van Aert were able to stay at the pointy end of that peloton as well. I thought that the 2 DSM guys were going to be caught before the line, but they absolutely drilled it. I mean, you know, they couldn't have got another watt out of themselves. The pair of them looked almost broken as they approached the line. And the peloton, driving as hard as they did, actually missed out by 5 seconds as the DSM pair crossed the line almost together, and Bardet just eased forward, took the victory, supported by the young Van den Broek, and celebrated immensely, and rightfully so, over the line with the rest of their team. An incredible day for the French rider, incredible day for the French in general at the Tour de France Stage 1. Bardet in the Maillot Jaune, an absolutely perfect finish. Let's talk about the big six. So we've got Pogacar. He looked incredibly comfortable all day. In fact, when the Peloton were drilling it, trying to catch the two DSM guys, everybody was struggling, except Pogacar. Didn't even open his mouth. Breathing through his nose, diaphragm barely moving, looked like he was on a cafe ride. So he obviously seems very strong. Vingergaard didn't appear to be distressed. Stayed in the peloton protected by his team, and was amazing to see after his injuries and short time to recovery that he did so well. He has said in an interview that just being at the Tour is a victory in itself, and he doesn't expect too much from himself, so we'll see. Remco Evenepoel pretty much the same, stayed with the peloton, and Roglic did the same also. So that's the big four. The press are talking about the big six at the moment, which is Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel included in that. As I mentioned, not the day for Van der Poel, but very much for Wout van Aert. He stayed at the pointy end and sprinted and got third place behind the two DSM guys. Incredible, considering the injuries he's recovering from also. So a fantastic stage 1. Let's talk about tomorrow, stage 2. I'll pull up the profile here. It's a slightly shorter day, just under 200k, and crucially, there's nowhere near the climbing that there was today. 3,800 today, 1,800 tomorrow. So a much easier day. It's not quite a flat sprinter stage. There are 6 ascents. They are categorized at category 3, except for one which is a cat 4. So nowhere near as severe as today. So I expect there to be more fireworks tomorrow. What we saw today, though, with the likes of Pedersen and Van Aert being able to stay with a fast charging peloton over climbs, bigger than tomorrow's climbs, makes me wonder, is this going to be a day for the fast men tomorrow? Are we going to see the Wout van Aerts, the Pedersens, maybe the Mathieu van der Poels really pushing for the sprint finish tomorrow? That's an interesting one. I'm undecided. I can't quite make my mind up whether this is a day for the breakaway, whether it is a day for the fast men, or whether this is going to be a day for Tadej Pogacar. I mean, it does very much look like the sort of terrain he does well over. Just whether he is saving himself for the 3 weeks or whether he'll treat tomorrow like a one-day classic. I'm hoping the latter. I'd love to see him open the taps and really go for it tomorrow. But let's see what happens. Let's hear what you guys think. Put your thoughts down in the comments section below. What did you think of today? Did it happen how you thought it would happen? I definitely got it wrong. And to be fair, almost all of the pundits I listened to also got it wrong as well. I don't think anyone saw Bardet winning it. So let me know in the comments what you think of today, and let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen on stage 2. And then we'll come back and revisit this and talk about that. Before we go, I just want to mention the comment from yesterday about Vingegaard, and we were talking about some of the other riders as well that were injured, and I didn't think particularly Vingegaard with a damaged lung would be recovered enough to be able to even be competitive. And somebody mentioned in there about how lungs do heal, and they can heal fairly quickly and successfully, and certainly we know bones can heal as well. And of course these guys are extremely fit, healthy young athletes that get immediate fantastic medical care. So thank you very much for the comments yesterday. That was interesting. Let's do the same about today and tomorrow in the comments after this video. So Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share this as well where you can do. I really appreciate the support, and I'm enjoying the interaction as well with everybody. So please keep that up. Thanks very much. Let's chat again tomorrow.